Failure. It's a word that can send shivers down our spines, make our hearts race, and our palms sweat. But what if I told you that failure isn't the enemy we've made it out to be? What if instead of running from failure, we embraced it? Let me share a story with you. Years ago, I met a young entrepreneur named Athena, fresh out of college, brimming with ideas and ambition. She launched her first startup. She poured her heart, soul, and every penny she had into this venture. For months, she worked tirelessly, fueled by dreams of success. But then reality hit. The market wasn't ready for her product. Investors pulled out, and just like that, her dream crumbled before her eyes. Athena was devastated. She felt like a failure, questioning every decision she'd made. Now, many people in Athena's position would have given up. They'd have tucked their tails between their legs and retreated to the safety of a 9-to-5 job. But not Athena. You see, Athena understood something crucial. Failure isn't final unless you let it be. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, Athena did something remarkable. She dissected her failure. She examined every aspect of her failed venture, identifying what went wrong and, more importantly, what she could learn from it. She treated her failure not as an end, but as a beginning, a stepping stone to greater things. And you know what? 2 years later, Athena launched another startup. This time, armed with the wisdom gained from her previous failure, she succeeded beyond her wildest dreams. Today, she runs a multi-million-dollar company employing hundreds of people. Athena's story teaches us a vital lesson. Failure is not our enemy. It's our greatest teacher if only we have the courage to learn from it. But how do we cultivate this fearlessness in the face of failure? How do we transform our relationship with setbacks and disappointments? First, we must understand that failure is not a reflection of our worth as human beings. Too often, we internalize our failures, allowing them to define us. We say things like, I failed, therefore I'm a failure. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Failure is simply an event, a moment in time. It's the result of an action or decision, not a definition of who we are. When we separate our failures from our sense of self-worth, we free ourselves from the paralyzing fear that often holds us back. Every time you fail, you're eliminating one way that doesn't work. You're one step closer to finding the way that does. Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors in history, famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. This mindset, this ability to see failure as progress, is what sets the extraordinary apart from the ordinary. Fear of failure is one of the most common and crippling fears we face. It keeps us in our comfort zones, prevents us from taking risks, and stifles our potential for growth and success. Fear is nothing more than false evidence appearing real. It's our minds playing tricks on us, conjuring up worst-case scenarios that rarely, if ever, come to pass. I want you to think about a time when you were afraid to try something new. Maybe it was applying for that dream job, asking someone out on a date, or starting your own business. Remember how your mind raced with all the things that could go wrong? Now think about what actually happened when you took that leap. Chances are, even if things didn't go perfectly, the reality was far less scary than what you had imagined. This is the power of facing our fears head on. When we confront them, we often find that they're paper tigers, intimidating from afar, but harmless up close. So how do we build this fearlessness? It starts with small steps. Each time you face a fear, no matter how small, you're building your courage muscle. It's like working out at the gym. You don't start by lifting the heaviest weights. You start small and gradually increase the challenge. Begin by identifying small risks you can take in your daily life. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, trying a new hobby, or striking up a conversation with a stranger. Each time you step out of your comfort zone, you're training your mind to embrace uncertainty and possibility rather than shrinking from it. As you build this habit of courage, you'll find that your tolerance for risk increases. Things that once seemed terrifying will become manageable, even exciting. You'll start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Being fearless doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean jumping into every situation without thought or preparation. True fearlessness is about calculated risks, about weighing the potential for growth and success against the possibility of failure. It's about asking yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And then following up with, and if that happens, how will I handle it? When you have a plan for even the worst case scenario, you rob fear of its power over you. Now let me share another story with you. This one is about a man named John, a middle manager at a large corporation. John had been in the same position for 15 years, comfortable but unfulfilled. He had dreams of starting his own consulting firm, but the fear of failure kept him chained to his desk. One day, John's company announced layoffs. Despite his years of service, John found himself without a job. At first, he was devastated, but then something remarkable happened. John realized that the very thing he had feared, losing his job, had already happened. And yet here he was still standing. This realization was liberating. If he could survive what he thought was the worst-case scenario, what else could he do? With nothing left to lose, John decided to take the leap and start his consulting business. Was it easy? Absolutely not. John faced countless challenges and setbacks. There were times when he questioned his decision, times when failure seemed imminent. But each time he stumbled, he remembered the lesson he had learned. He was stronger than his fears. Today, John's consulting firm is thriving. But more importantly, John is living a life true to himself, free from the shackles of fear that had held him back for so long. John's story illustrates another crucial point. Sometimes our greatest opportunities come disguised as our worst failures. When we're fearless in the face of failure, we're able to see these opportunities and seize them. But being fearless isn't just about how we handle failure when it comes. It's also about how we approach life and its challenges every single day. The most successful people you know or admire, what sets them apart isn't that they never fail. In fact, if you look closely, you'll often find that they've failed more times than most people have even tried. What sets them apart is their attitude towards failure. They see failure not as an end, but as feedback. Every setback, every mistake, every missed opportunity is data, valuable information that they can use to refine their approach to get better, to move closer to their goals. This mindset, seeing failure as feedback, is transformative. It turns every experience, good or bad, into an opportunity for growth. It allows us to maintain our forward momentum, even in the face of setbacks. Imagine approaching life with this mindset. Imagine waking up each day not afraid of what might go wrong, but excited about what you might learn. Imagine tackling challenges not with trepidation, but with curiosity and enthusiasm. This is what it means to be truly fearless in the face of failure. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about not letting that fear control you. It's about recognizing that on the other side of fear lies growth, opportunity, and fulfillment. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's all well and good, but how do I actually do this? How do I cultivate this fearlessness? Well, my friends, it starts with a decision to no longer let fear be the driving force in your life, a decision to embrace discomfort, to seek out challenges, to view obstacles as opportunities. Once you've made this decision, it's about taking consistent action. Remember, courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Start by setting ambitious goals for yourself. Goals that excite you, but also scare you a little. Goals that will require you to grow, to step outside your comfort zone. Then break these goals down into smaller, manageable steps. Each step should be challenging enough to stretch you, but not so daunting that it paralyzes you with fear. As you work towards these goals, make a commitment to yourself. No matter what happens, you will learn from the experience. If you succeed, great. Celebrate your victory, but also analyze what went right so you can replicate it in the future. And if you fail, well, that's where the real growth happens. Dive deep into your failure. Examine it from every angle. What went wrong? What could you have done differently? What will you do differently next time? Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every failure brings you one step closer to your goals, as long as you're willing to learn from it. Another powerful tool in cultivating fearlessness is visualization. Our minds are incredibly powerful, and they can't always distinguish between what we vividly imagine and what we actually experience. Take a few minutes each day to visualize yourself facing your fears head on. See yourself taking risks, embracing challenges, and yes, even failing. But then getting back up, stronger and wiser. The more you do this, the more natural and less scary these scenarios will become in real life. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Seek out people who inspire you, who challenge you, who support your growth. Find mentors who have walked the path you want to tread. Learn from their experiences, their successes, and yes, their failures. Their stories can provide valuable insights and inspiration as you navigate your own journey. At the same time, be wary of negative influences. People who are stuck in their own fears may try to hold you back, often out of a misguided attempt to protect you. Remember, their fears are not your fears. Their limitations are not your limitations. Fearlessness. It's important to celebrate your progress. Too often we focus solely on our end goals, overlooking the growth and achievements we make along the way. Take time to acknowledge every risk you take, every fear you face. These are victories in themselves, regardless of the outcome. By celebrating these small wins, you reinforce the behavior and mindset of fearlessness. Now, let me share one final story with you. This is the story of Maria, a talented artist who had always dreamed of having her own gallery show. For years, Maria created beautiful pieces, but kept them hidden away, afraid of how they would be received. One day, Maria decided she'd had enough of living in fear. She gathered her courage and submitted her portfolio to a local gallery. To her surprise and delight, they loved her work and offered her a show. As the opening night approached, Maria's fear returned with a vengeance. What if no one showed up? What if people hated her art? What if this dream, which she had nurtured for so long, turned into a humiliating failure? But Maria had come too far to turn back now. She faced her fears head on, reminding herself that regardless of the outcome, she was already a success for having the courage to try. The night of the show arrived. As Maria stood in the gallery surrounded by her art, she was amazed to see people streaming in. They admired her work, engaged her in deep conversations about her creative process, and several pieces even sold. Not everyone loved Maria's art. There were critics who didn't understand her style, who questioned her techniques. In the past, this kind of criticism would have devastated Maria, but now she saw it differently. She realized that by putting her art out into the world, she had opened herself up to both praise and criticism. And that was okay, because the alternative, keeping her art hidden away, never knowing what could have been, was far worse than any criticism she might receive. Maria's story teaches us an important lesson. Being fearless doesn't mean we won't face criticism or setbacks. It means we have the courage to put ourselves out there anyway, knowing that the potential for growth and success far outweighs the risk of failure. Fear is a natural human emotion, one that has served us well throughout our evolutionary history. It's kept us safe from predators, alerted us to dangers, and helped us survive in harsh environments. But in our modern world, where most of us don't face life-threatening dangers on a daily basis, fear can become a hindrance rather than a help. It can keep us trapped in unfulfilling jobs, unsatisfying relationships, and unrealized dreams. The key is to distinguish between healthy fear, the kind that keeps us from walking into traffic or touching a hot stove, and unhealthy fear, the kind that holds us back from pursuing our goals and living our best lives. Healthy fear is immediate and specific. It prompts us to take action to avoid a clear and present danger. Unhealthy fear, on the other hand, is often vague and future-oriented. It's the what-ifs that plague us, the worst-case scenarios we conjure up in our minds. When we learn to recognize unhealthy fear for what it is, a product of our imagination rather than a reflection of reality, we can start to challenge it. We can ask ourselves, is this fear based on fact or fiction? Is it protecting me or limiting me? This process of questioning our fears is crucial in developing fearlessness. It allows us to see our fears objectively, to examine them rationally rather than simply reacting to them emotionally. But recognizing our fears is only the first step. The next and often more challenging step is to act in spite of them. This is where true courage comes into play. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act in the face of fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's understanding that the price of inaction is often far greater than the price of action, even if that action leads to failure. The regrets people often express at the end of their lives. Rarely do you hear someone say, "I wish I hadn't taken that risk," or "I wish I had played it safe." Instead, you hear things like, "I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me," or "I wish I had the courage to express my feelings," or "I wish I had the courage to pursue my dreams." These regrets stem from a life lived in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But when we're fearless in the face of failure, we eliminate these potential regrets. We give ourselves the chance to live a life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to recover from failures, to keep going in the face of adversity. And it's a crucial component of fearlessness. Resilience isn't something we're born with. It's a skill we can develop. And one of the best ways to develop resilience is through exposure to challenges and setbacks. Each time we face a difficulty and overcome it, we build our resilience muscle. This is why it's so important to embrace challenges rather than avoid them. Each challenge we face, each obstacle we overcome makes us stronger and more resilient. It prepares us for bigger challenges down the road. If you want to be able to lift heavy weights, you don't start with the heaviest barbells in the gym. You start with weights you can manage and gradually increase the load as you get stronger. The same principle applies to building mental and emotional strength. Start with small challenges, small risks. As you overcome these, you'll build the confidence and resilience to take on bigger challenges. Resilience, not just about being able to withstand adversity, it's about being able to grow from it. Resilient people don't just survive challenges, they thrive because of them. They understand that adversity is not just something to be endured, but something to be embraced. Because it's through adversity that we grow, that we discover our true strength, that we become the best versions of ourselves. This brings us to another crucial aspect of being fearless in the face of failure. The growth mindset, coined by psychologist Carol Dweck. The growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. In contrast, a fixed mindset is the belief that our qualities are carved in stone, that we have a certain amount of intelligence and talent, and that's that. People with a fixed mindset often shy away from challenges, fearing that failure will expose their limitations. They see effort as fruitless and criticism as a personal attack. But those with a growth mindset, they embrace challenges as opportunities to learn. They see effort as the path to mastery. They learn from criticism and find inspiration in the success of others. Most importantly, they view failure not as evidence of unintelligence, but as a springboard for growth and stretching their abilities. Cultivating a growth mindset is crucial in becoming fearless in the face of failure. It allows us to see failures not as indictments of our worth or ability, but as valuable data points on our journey to success. It encourages us to persist in the face of setbacks, knowing that with effort and the right strategies, we can improve and overcome obstacles. Consider the story of Michael Jordan, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Many don't know that Jordan was cut from his high school varsity basketball team. Instead of letting this failure define him, Jordan used it as motivation. He practiced relentlessly, eventually not only making the team, but becoming its star player. Jordan's growth mindset allowed him to view his initial failure as a challenge to improve, not a final judgment on his abilities. This mindset shift is powerful. It transforms the meaning of effort and difficulty. In a fixed mindset, if you have to work hard at something, it means you're not good at it. But in a growth mindset, effort is what makes you smart or talented. This view creates a love of learning and resilience that is essential for great accomplishment. When you're truly passionate about something, fear takes a backseat. Your desire to achieve your goal, to live your purpose, becomes stronger than your fear of failure. A time when you were deeply passionate about something, maybe it was a creative project, a sport, or a cause you believed in. Recall how that passion drove you to take risks, to put yourself out there, to keep going even when things got tough. That's the power of passion in overcoming fear. But passion alone isn't enough. It needs to be coupled with perseverance. This combination, passion and perseverance, is what psychologist Angela Duckworth calls grit. Grit is the stamina to stick with your future day in and day out. Not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years. It's working hard to make that future a reality. Grit is what keeps you going when the initial excitement of a new project fades. It's what helps you push through the messy middle, that point in any endeavor where the going gets tough and giving up seems tempting. It's what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. Developing grit involves setting long-term goals and being committed to them. It means having the endurance to deal with challenges and adversity. It's about having stamina and sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years. Let's consider the story of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before her success, Rowling faced numerous setbacks. She was a single mother living on welfare, struggling with depression. Her first Harry Potter manuscript was rejected by 12 different publishers before it was finally accepted. But Rowling had grit. She had a passion for her story and the perseverance to keep pushing forward despite the rejections. She didn't let fear of failure stop her from sending out her manuscript again and again, and her grit paid off. Harry Potter became one of the best-selling book series in history, and Rowling became the first author to become a billionaire through writing. Rowling's story teaches us that success often lies on the other side of failure. If she had given up after the first few rejections, if she had let her fear of failure overcome her, the world would have missed out on the magic of Harry Potter. This brings us to another important aspect of being fearless in the face of failure. Redefining success and failure. Too often we see success and failure as absolute states. We succeed or we fail, period. But life is rarely that black and white. Instead, what if we viewed success and failure as part of the same continuum? What if we saw them not as endpoints, but as checkpoints on our journey? This perspective shift can be incredibly liberating. When we redefine failure as a stepping stone to success, we remove much of its sting. We begin to see that what we often call failure is simply feedback. It's information that we can use to adjust our approach, refine our strategies, and move closer to our goals. Consider the approach of Silicon Valley startups. In the tech world, the mantra is, fail fast, fail often. This doesn't mean they aim to fail. Rather, it means they understand that rapid iteration, learning from mistakes, and continuous improvement are the keys to eventual success. They know that each failure brings them closer to a solution that works. This approach can be applied to any area of life. Whether you're starting a business, learning a new skill, or working on personal growth, adopting this mindset of iterative improvement can help you become more fearless in the face of potential failure. Often our fear of failure is rooted in harsh self-judgment. We fear failing because we fear the negative self-talk that comes with it. We fear confirming our worst fears about ourselves. But what if, instead of berating ourselves for our failure, we treated ourselves with kindness and understanding? What if we spoke to ourselves the way we would speak to a good friend who had experienced a setback? Self-compassion involves three key components: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness means being gentle and understanding with ourselves, rather than harshly critical. Common humanity involves recognizing that everyone fails and experiences difficult times. It's part of the shared human experience. Mindfulness means maintaining a balanced awareness of our negative thoughts and feelings, neither suppressing them nor exaggerating. When we practice self-compassion, we create a safe internal environment for taking risks and potentially failing. We know that even if we do fail, we won't abandon ourselves. This safety net allows us to be bolder, to reach higher, to be more fearless in the face of potential failure. The concept of failing forward, this idea popularized by John C. Maxwell, suggests that failure is not just inevitable but necessary for success. The key is to fail in the right direction, forward. Failing forward means extracting the maximum learning from each failure and using that knowledge to propel yourself closer to your goals. It's about maintaining momentum, even when things don't go as planned. To fail forward, we need to adopt a few key practices. 1. Take responsibility for our failures instead of blaming others or circumstances. 2. Learn from each failure instead of repeating the same mistakes. 3. Maintain a positive attitude even in the face of failure. 4. Take new action based on what we've learned. This is you. 5. Develop new strategies to increase our chances of success next time. By implementing these practices, we can ensure that each failure becomes a stepping stone to future success rather than a stumbling block. Reframing is the ability to look at a situation from a different perspective. When it comes to failure, reframing can be a game changer. Instead of seeing failure as a negative outcome, what if we reframed it as a learning opportunity, a chance to show resilience, proof that we're pushing our boundaries, a necessary step on the path to mastery, an interesting plot twist in our life story. By reframing failure in these ways, we can change our emotional response to it. Instead of fear and dread, we might feel curiosity, excitement, or determination. Remember, our brains are incredibly adaptable. The stories we tell ourselves about our experiences shape our reality. By consciously choosing to reframe failure in a more positive light, we can literally rewire our brains to be less fearful of it. Let's also consider the role of preparation in becoming fearless. While it might seem counterintuitive, being well prepared can actually help us be more comfortable with the possibility of failure. When we're prepared, we know we've done everything in our power to succeed. This knowledge can give us the confidence to take risks, knowing that even if we fail, it won't be due to lack of effort or preparation on our part. Preparation also helps us respond more effectively if failure does occur. By thinking through potential scenarios and having contingency plans, we can face challenges with a clear head rather than panicking. However, it's important to note that preparation doesn't mean trying to control every variable or waiting until conditions are perfect. There will always be unknowns and risks. The goal of preparation is not to eliminate all possibility of failure, but to give us the confidence and tools to handle whatever comes our way. When we celebrate failure, we acknowledge the courage it took to try. We recognize the growth that comes from pushing our boundaries. We honor the lessons learned and the resilience built. Many successful organizations have institutionalized this practice. Tata, one of India's largest conglomerates, has a Dare to Try award for the best failed idea. The idea is to encourage risk-taking innovation by removing the stigma associated with failure. By celebrating failure, we create an environment, both internally and in our communities, where taking risks is valued. We encourage ourselves and others to be bold, to experiment, to push boundaries, and in doing so, we open up possibilities for groundbreaking success that playing it safe could never achieve. Being fearless in the face of failure isn't about never feeling fear. It's about feeling the fear and moving forward anyway. It's about understanding that failure is not the opposite of success, but a crucial part of it. It's about cultivating resilience, adopting a growth mindset, and practicing self-compassion. It's about reframing failure as feedback, learning to fail forward, and even celebrating our failures as markers of our courage and growth. Remember, every great success story is also a story of great failure. The difference lies in how those failures were perceived and handled. By embracing failure as a teacher, a motivator, and a necessary step on the path to success, we can unlock our full potential and achieve things we never thought possible. What fear will you face today? What risk will you take? What step, no matter how small, will you take towards your dreams? Go forth with courage, with resilience, with fearlessness. Embrace failure not as an enemy, but as a friend guiding you towards growth and success. Your journey awaits, full of challenges, lessons, and ultimately triumphs. Be fearless in the face of failure and watch as you achieve greatness beyond your wildest dreams. Imagine a world where your deepest desires, your loftiest goals, and your wildest dreams come true. Now take a moment and ask yourself, why haven't I achieved them yet? The answer, my friends, lies in the power of productive anger, the kind of anger that fuels change, drives progress, and ignites the fire of transformation within you. Today, we're going to explore how to harness that anger, that burning desire for something better, and turn it into the most powerful force for positive change in your life. Are you ready? Are you willing to be angry enough to change? Let's begin with a fundamental truth. Comfort is the enemy of growth. When we're too comfortable, we become complacent. We settle for less than we deserve, less than we're capable of. And that, my friends, is, think about it. How many times have you looked at your life and thought, this isn't where I wanted to be? How often have you felt that gnawing dissatisfaction, that quiet voice whispering, you were meant for more than this? That's not just discontent. That's your potential crying out to be realized. I want you to take that feeling and amplify it. Let it grow from a whisper to a roar. Because that, ladies and gentlemen, is the seed of change. That's the spark that can set your world on fire. But here's the catch. That anger, that dissatisfaction, is not enough on its own. You need to channel it, to direct it, to use it as fuel for your journey of transformation. And that's exactly what we're going to learn how to do today. Step 1, identify your targets. What are you angry about? What aspects of your life fall short of your expectations? It's your career, your relationships, your health, your financial situation. Don't hold back. Be brutally honest with yourself. Write it all down. This is your hit list, your catalog of change. I want you to look at that list and feel the anger rising within you. Feel it bubbling up from your gut, spreading through your chest, tingling in your fingertips. This isn't destructive anger. This is creative anger. This is the anger that built empires, that changed the course of history, that turned ordinary people into legends. Set your goals. For each item on your list, I want you to define a clear, specific goal. Don't be vague. Don't say, I want to be happier. Say, I want to increase my income by 50 within the next 18 months. Don't say, I want to be healthier. Say, I want to run a marathon in under 4 hours by this time next year. These goals are your battle cry. They're your declaration of war against mediocrity, against settling, against the status quo. Every time you look at them, I want you to feel that anger rising again. Let it motivate you. Let it drive you. Create your action plan. This is where we turn anger into strategy. For each goal, break it down into smaller, manageable steps. What do you need to do daily, weekly, monthly to achieve your targets? Be specific. Be detailed. This is your roadmap to success. Remember, anger without action is just noise. It's wasted energy. But anger with a plan, that's dynamite. That's the stuff that moves mountains. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but isn't anger negative? Shouldn't we focus on positive emotions? And to that I say, anger is a tool. Like any tool, its value depends on how you use it. Anger can destroy, yes, but it can also create. It can inspire. It can motivate. Think about some of the greatest achievements in human history. The civil rights movement, the fight for democracy, scientific breakthroughs, artistic masterpieces. So many of these were born from a deep, burning anger at the way things were, coupled with an unshakable belief that things could be better. That's the kind of anger we're talking about. The kind that looks at injustice and says, no more. The kind that looks at limitations and says, I'll find a way. The kind that looks at failure and says, try me again. But here's the key. This anger isn't about blaming others. It's not about resentment or bitterness. This anger is about taking responsibility. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, I'm angry at where I am, and I'm the one who's going to change it. That's power, my friends. That's the kind of power that can transform your life. Let's talk about the obstacles you're going to face. Because make no mistake, when you decide to change, the world will test you. You'll face doubters and naysayers. You'll encounter setbacks and failures. And there will be days when it feels like everything is working against you. And that's exactly when you need to tap into that anger again. Let it remind you why you started this journey. Let it steel your resolve. Let it be the fire that keeps you warm on the coldest nights of your quest. The path to success is not a straight line. It's a series of ups and downs, twists and turns. But every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Celebrate those victories. Use them to fuel your anger, to stoke the fires of your determination. I want to share a little secret with you. The most successful people in the world, the ones who've achieved greatness in their fields, they're angry too. They're angry at complacency. They're angry at missed opportunities. They're angry at the thought of not living up to their full potential. But here's the difference. They don't let that anger consume them. They don't let it turn into bitterness or despair. Instead, they use it as a tool. They harness it, focus it, and use it to drive them forward. That's what I want for you. I want you to be angry enough to change, but wise enough to channel that anger productively. I want you to use that anger to push through your limits, to shatter your preconceptions of what's possible, to redefine your reality. Let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear is the flip side of anger. Where anger pushes you forward, fear holds you back. And make no mistake, when you embark on this journey of change, fear will rear its ugly head. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of success. Yes, that's a real thing too. But here's the beautiful thing about productive anger. It's the perfect antidote to fear. When you're angry enough to change, when you're filled with that burning desire for something better, fear doesn't stand a chance. Your anger becomes your courage. Your dissatisfaction becomes your shield. So when fear comes knocking, and I want you to meet it with your anger. I want you to look fear in the eye and say, not today, I'm too angry to be afraid. I'm too determined to be stopped. Let's address another crucial point, consistency. Anger is a powerful emotion, but like any emotion, it can fade. The key is to build habits that keep that fire burning, that keep you moving forward, even on the days when your anger cools. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is what turns your anger into sustained action. It's what keeps you going when motivation wanes. It's what transforms your goals from distant dreams into concrete realities. So how do we build this discipline? It starts with small daily actions. Remember that action plan we created earlier? I want you to commit to taking at least one step from that plan every single day. No matter how small, no matter how insignificant it might seem, take that step. These daily actions serve two purposes. First, they keep you moving towards your goals, inch by inch, day by day. Second, and perhaps more importantly, they keep that anger alive. They remind you of what you're fighting for, of why you started this journey in the first place. Think of it like stoking a fire. Each small action is another log on the flames, keeping your anger burning bright and hot. Over time, these small actions compound. They build momentum. And before you know it, you're not just angry enough to change. You're changing. I want to address something important. This journey we're on, this path of change fueled by productive anger, it's not always going to be comfortable. In fact, if you're in your right, it should be uncomfortable a lot of the time. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Change requires you to stretch, to push your limits, to do things you've never done before, and that can be scary. It can be painful. There will be times when you want to quit, when you want to go back to the safety of your old life. But I want you to remember something in those moments. I want you to remember why you started. I want you to tap into that anger again. Let it remind you of what you're fighting for, of the life you're trying to create. And here's a little trick. When things get tough, when you feel like giving up, I want you to get angry at the very idea of quitting. Let the thought of going back to your old life, of settling for less than you deserve, make your blood boil. Let it reignite your determination. Let's talk about the power of visualization. This is a crucial tool in maintaining your anger and focus over the long haul. I want you to take a few minutes each day to vividly imagine your goals as if they've already been achieved. See yourself in that corner office. Feel the pride of crossing that marathon finish line. Imagine the security of having that hefty savings account. Make these visions as detailed and real as possible. But don't stop there. I also want you to visualize the process of getting there. See yourself putting in the long hours, making the tough decisions, pushing through the challenges. This isn't just daydreaming. This is mental rehearsal. This is programming your mind for success. And here's where the anger comes in. I want you to contrast these visions of success with your current reality. Feel the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Let it make you angry. Let it fuel your resolve to close that gap. This anger isn't about self-loathing or frustration. It's about recognizing your potential and refusing to settle for anything less. It's about loving yourself enough to demand more from yourself. Let's address a common pitfall on this journey: comparison. In today's world of social media and constant connectivity, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others. And let me tell you, that's a recipe for unproductive anger and frustration. The only person you should be competing with is yourself. Your journey is unique. Your challenges are unique. Don't waste your anger on jealousy or envy. Channel it into becoming the best version of yourself. That being said, there's nothing wrong with finding inspiration in others' success. When you see someone achieving great things, instead of feeling resentful, let it fuel your anger in a positive way. Let it remind you of what's possible. Let it challenge you to raise your own bar. I want to talk about a crucial aspect of this journey: self-care. When we talk about being angry enough to change, about pushing ourselves to the limit, it's easy to fall into the trap of neglecting our physical and mental health. But here's the truth. You can't sustain productive anger if you're burnt out. You can't change your life if you're running on empty. So part of your action plan needs to include strategies for taking care of yourself. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, aren't we talking about being angry? About pushing ourselves? Yes, but remember, this is about sustainable, productive anger. This is about playing the long game. So I want you to get angry at the very idea of neglecting yourself. Get angry at the thought of sabotaging your success through burnout. Use that anger to fuel good habits, regular exercise, healthy eating, adequate sleep, mindfulness practices. These aren't luxuries. They're not indulgences. They're essential tools in your arsenal of change. They're what keep you sharp, focused, and ready to tackle the challenges ahead. Now let's talk about failure. If you're angry enough to change, if you're pushing yourself to new limits, you're going to fail. It's not a possibility, it's a certainty. And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's necessary. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a crucial part of success. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity to grow stronger, to refine your approach, to fuel your anger and determination. So when you fail, and you will, I don't want you to get discouraged. I want you to get angry. Not at yourself, not at the world, but at the very idea of giving up. I want you to look at that failure and say, is that all you've got? I'm just getting started. Use that failure to refine your goals, to adjust your action plan, to come back stronger and more determined than ever. Let it be the coal that feeds the fire of your anger and determination. Remember, the most successful people in the world have failed more times than most people have even tried. The difference is they use those failures as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. I want to talk about legacy. This might seem like a big word, a lofty concept, but bear with me. Your legacy is not just what you leave behind when you're gone. It's the impact you make every single day. I want you to get angry at the idea of living a life without impact. I want you to be filled with a burning desire to make your mark on the world, to leave it better than you found it. This isn't about fame or recognition. It's about living a life of purpose and meaning. Your goals, your dreams, your journey of change, they're not just about you. They're about the ripple effect you create, the lives you touch, the example you set, the possibilities you open up for others. So when you're pushing through those tough times, when you're facing those moments of doubt, remember this: your journey is bigger than you. Your anger, your determination, your refusal to settle, they're not just changing your life. They're changing the world. The anger we've talked about today, the productive, focused, determined anger, it's not a destination. It's a tool. A powerful tool, yes, but still just a tool. The real goal is transformation. The real goal is becoming the person you were meant to be, living the life you were meant to live. Your anger is the chisel, but you are the sculptor. You are the artist creating your masterpiece. So go forth from here with that fire in your belly. Be angry enough to change, yes, but also be wise enough to direct that anger. Be brave enough to face your fears. Be disciplined enough to do the work day in and day out. Be kind enough to take care of yourself along the way. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And sometimes that step is fueled by anger, the right kind of anger, the kind that says, I deserve better and I'm willing to work for it. You have everything you need within you. The potential, the power, the possibility. It's all there. Your anger is the key that unlocks it. Use it wisely, use it well. And know this, I believe in you. I believe in your ability to change, to grow, to become the person you've always known you could be. The road ahead won't be easy, but I promise you this, it will be worth it. I want you to make a commitment to yourself, to your dreams, to your future, a commitment to be angry enough to change and brave enough to see that change through. Are you ready? Are you willing? Are you angry enough? The choice is yours. The power is yours. The future is yours. Now go out there and change your world. This success story, uniquely yours, begins the moment you decide to harness that anger and channel it into purposeful action. It's not just about feeling angry. It's about using that emotion as a catalyst for real, tangible change in your life. Imagine waking up each morning with a fire in your belly, a burning desire to make today better than yesterday. That's the power of productive anger at work. It's not about being upset or frustrated. It's about being so passionately dissatisfied with mediocrity that you refuse to accept it in any aspect of your life. This journey of transformation isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. There will be days when that anger feels more like a smoldering ember than a raging inferno. That's okay. The key is to keep that ember alive, to nurture it, to fan it back into flames when needed. Think of your anger as a compass, always pointing you toward your true north, your goals, your dreams, your ideal self. When you feel lost or confused, when the path ahead seems unclear, let that anger guide you. Let it remind you of why you started this journey in the first place. But remember, this anger isn't blind rage. It's not about lashing out or blaming others. It's a focused, controlled energy like a laser beam, precise and powerful. It's about directing all that intensity inward, using it to break through your own limitations and self-imposed barriers. As you move forward in this path, you'll start to notice changes. Small at first, perhaps, but significant nonetheless. Maybe you'll find yourself waking up earlier, eager to start the day. Maybe you'll catch yourself making healthier choices, fueled by your anger at past neglect of your well-being. Maybe you'll start speaking up more, driven by your refusal to let opportunities pass you by. These small changes are the building blocks of your success story. They're the plot points in your personal narrative of transformation. Celebrate them, but don't be satisfied with them. Let each small victory stoke the fires of your anger, pushing you to achieve even more. As your journey progresses, you may find that your anger begins to evolve. What started as frustration or dissatisfaction might transform into a fierce determination. The rage against what was becomes a passionate drive towards what could be. This is growth. This is progress. This is you writing your success story one day at a time. But let's be clear, this journey won't always be smooth sailing. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when it feels like the whole world is conspiring against you. In these moments, your anger becomes your lifeline. When faced with obstacles, don't let your anger diminish. Let it intensify. Get angry at the very idea of giving up. Let the thought of returning to your old life, of settling for less than you deserve, fill you with a righteous fury. Use that anger to smash through barriers, to leap over hurdles, to push through when everything in you wants to quit. You'll start to notice something incredible happening. Your anger, once directed at your circumstances or your past self, begins to transform. It becomes a driving force, propelling you towards excellence in everything you do. You'll find yourself getting angry at the mere thought of giving less than your best effort, of letting a day go by without making progress towards your goals. This is when your success story really starts to take shape. This is when you begin to realize that you're not just changing your circumstances, you're changing yourself, you're becoming the protagonist in your own epic tale of transformation. And here's the beautiful thing about this journey. It has no endpoint. There's no finish line where you suddenly stop being angry, where you decide you've changed enough. This is a lifelong adventure, a constant process of growth and evolution. As you achieve your initial goals, as you conquer the challenges that once seemed insurmountable, your anger will find new targets. You'll set your sights higher, dream bigger dreams, take on greater challenges. Your success story will have many chapters, each one fueled by that same productive anger that got you started. But as your journey continues, you'll find that your anger is no longer harsh, abrasive force. It becomes refined, focused, almost elegant in its intensity. It's no longer about being mad at the world or yourself. It's about being so deeply committed to your vision of success that anything less is unacceptable. This refined anger becomes a part of who you are. It informs your decisions, guides your actions, shapes your character. You become known as someone who refuses to settle, who always strives for more, not out of greed or ego, but out of a genuine desire to live life to its fullest potential. As your success story unfolds, you'll start to notice another incredible phenomenon. Your journey, fueled by your productive anger, begins to inspire others. People around you will see the changes you're making, the progress you're achieving, and they'll want to know your secret. And here's where your story takes on an even greater significance. By sharing your journey, by showing others the power of being angry enough to change, you become a catalyst for transformation in their lives as well. Your success story spawns other success stories, creating a ripple effect of positive change. This is the true measure of success, not just what you achieve for yourself, but the impact you have on others. Your anger, once a personal tool for change, becomes a beacon of hope and inspiration for those around you. Remember that every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome, is another paragraph in your tale of triumph. Each moment of doubt that you push through, each fear that you conquer adds depth and richness to your narrative. Your story becomes one of resilience, of unwavering determination, of a refusal to be defined by your circumstances. It becomes a testament to the incredible power of the human spirit when fueled by productive anger and an unshakable commitment to change. And as your story unfolds, you'll find that your anger, your driving force, begins to coexist with other powerful emotions. Alongside your anger, you'll feel a deep sense of pride in how far you've come. You'll experience profound gratitude for the strength you've discovered within yourself. You'll be filled with excitement for the future you're creating. These emotions don't replace your anger. They complement it. They add new dimensions to your journey, new colors to the tapestry of your success story. As you look back on where you started, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. The changes you've made, the goals you've achieved, the person you've become, all of it seemed impossible when you first began. But your anger, your refusal to accept the status quo made the impossible possible. Your success story serves as a powerful reminder that change is always possible, that it's never too late to rewrite your narrative. It stands as a challenge to others, daring them to be angry enough to change their own lives. And so your story continues. Each day brings new opportunities to be angry, not with destructive rage, but with that powerful, productive anger that spurs you to greater heights. Each day is another chance to add to your tale of transformation, to deepen the impact of your journey. Your success story, fueled by your anger and written with every choice you make, every action you take, becomes your legacy. It becomes the gift you leave to the world. A testament to the power of being angry enough to change and the incredible transformations that can occur when you channel that anger into positive action. So embrace your anger, fuel it, direct it, use it to write the most incredible success story ever told. The story of your life, your growth, your transformation. Let your anger be the pen with which you write your legacy one day at a time, one choice at a time, one victory at a time. Your success story is still being written. The best chapters are yet to come. So stay angry, stay hungry, stay committed to change. Your story has the power to inspire, to motivate, to change not just your life, but the lives of countless others. Remember, the most beautiful success stories are often born from the deepest anger. The anger that says enough is enough, the anger that demands better, the anger that refuses to settle for a life half-lived. Your anger is your superpower. Use it wisely, use it well, and watch as it transforms not just your life, but your entire world. Life is a journey filled with countless interactions, opportunities, and challenges. Every day we are faced with choices that shape not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. One of the most powerful choices we can make is to be kind. But here's the catch. We must also be wise. We must be kind, but not blind. Imagine for a moment that you are walking down a busy street. You see people rushing by, each caught up in their own world, their own struggles, their own triumphs. What if, in that moment, you decided to be the spark of kindness that lights up someone's day? A simple smile, a held door, a genuine compliment. These small acts can create ripples of positivity that extend far beyond what we can see. But here's where the not blind part comes in. Being kind does not mean being a doormat. It does not mean ignoring red flags or letting others take advantage of your good nature. True kindness, the kind that changes lives and moves mountains, comes from a place of strength, not weakness. Let me share a personal story with you. Years ago, I met a young man named Tom at a business conference. Tom approached me after my talk, eager to share his ideas and seek advice. His enthusiasm was infectious, and I found myself drawn to his passion. I decided to be kind, to give him more of my time, to listen to his plans, to offer guidance where I could. As our mentorship developed, I noticed some concerning patterns. Tom was always full of big ideas, but he struggled to follow through. He'd make commitments and break them, always with a ready excuse. I realized that by continuing to offer my time and resources without addressing these issues, I wasn't truly helping Tom. I was being kind, but I was being blind to the real problems. That's when I learned one of the most valuable lessons of my career. True kindness often requires tough love. I sat Tom down and had an honest conversation about his behavior. It wasn't easy for either of us. But by addressing the issue head on, by being kind enough to tell the truth, I gave Tom the opportunity to grow. And grow he did. Tom took that feedback to heart, worked on his follow-through, and within a year he had launched a successful startup. By being kind but not blind, I was able to make a real difference in Tom's life, far more than if I had simply continued to enable his unproductive habits. This principle, be kind but not blind, applies to every area of our lives. In our personal relationships, it means showing love and support, but also having the courage to address the issues that arise. In our professional lives, it means treating colleagues and employees with respect and compassion, while still maintaining high standards and holding people accountable. When was the last time someone was really kind to you? Not just polite, not just nice, but genuinely kind. How did it make you feel? Chances are it lifted your spirits, boosted your confidence, maybe even changed the course of your day. That's the power of kindness. It's a force that can transform lives, build bridges, and create opportunities where none existed before. But remember, kindness without discernment can lead us astray. It's like driving a car with your eyes closed. You might have the best intentions, but you are likely to crash. To truly make a positive impact, we need to combine kindness with wisdom, empathy with clear-sightedness. 1. Practice daily acts of kindness. Make it a habit to perform at least one kind act each day. It could be as simple as sending an encouraging text to a friend or helping a coworker with a task. These small actions add up over time, creating a ripple effect of positivity. 2. Develop your emotional intelligence. Learn to read people and situations accurately. This will help you discern when kindness is needed and when a firmer approach might be more beneficial. 3. Set clear boundaries. Kindness does not mean saying yes to everything. Learn to say no when necessary, always with respect and compassion. 4. Be honest even when it's difficult. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is tell someone a hard truth. Do it with empathy and good intentions. 5. Listen actively. Often the greatest kindness we can offer is our full attention. Practice listening without interrupting, really trying to understand the other person's perspective. 6. Take care of yourself. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Self-care is not selfish. It's necessary if you want to have the energy and resources to be kind to others. 7. Forgive, but learn. When someone hurts you, practice forgiveness, but also learn from the experience and adjust your boundaries if necessary. 8. Seek to understand before being understood. Before jumping to conclusions or reacting, take a moment to try and see the situation from the other person's point of view. 9. Be patient. True kindness often requires patience. Change and growth take time both for ourselves and for others. 10. Celebrate kindness in others. When you see others being kind, acknowledge and appreciate it. This encourages more kindness and creates a positive feedback loop. How we can implement them in our daily lives and the profound impact they can have. Imagine you are building a house. Each brick you lay might seem small and insignificant on its own, but over time, those bricks come together to create something magnificent. That's what daily acts of kindness are like. Each individual action might seem small, but over time, they build a life and a world of compassion and connection. Start your day by asking yourself, how can I make someone's life a little better today? Maybe it's leaving a generous tip for your barista or sending a heartfelt message to an old friend you have been thinking about. Perhaps it's offering to mentor a junior colleague at work or simply holding the elevator for someone rushing to catch it. These acts do not have to be grand gestures. In fact, it's often the small, seemingly insignificant acts that have the most profound impact. Why? Because they're unexpected. They catch people off guard in the best possible way, reminding them that there is goodness in the world. Do not do it for recognition or reward. Do it because it's the right thing to do. Do it because every time you choose kindness, you are not just changing someone else's day. You are changing yourself. You are reinforcing neural pathways in your brain that make kindness your default response. You are becoming, day by day, act by act, a kinder person. And the beautiful thing about kindness, it's contagious. When you are kind to someone, they're more likely to be kind to others. You create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate interaction. You never know how far that ripple might travel or whose life it might touch. Emotional intelligence is like a superpower in human interaction. It's the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions, as well as to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. In the context of being kind but not blind, emotional intelligence is crucial. Think of emotional intelligence as your radar system. It helps you pick up on subtle cues in people's behavior, tone of voice, and body language. It allows you to sense when someone is struggling, even if they're putting on a brave face. It helps you discern when a situation calls for gentle encouragement and when it requires a more direct approach. To develop your emotional intelligence, start by practicing self-awareness. Take time each day to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Why are you feeling that way? The more you understand your own emotions, the better you will be at understanding others. Next, work on your empathy. Try to put yourself in other people's shoes. When someone is acting in a way you do not understand or appreciate, ask yourself what might be going on in their life to cause this behavior. This does not mean excusing bad behavior, but it does mean approaching it with understanding rather than judgment. Practice active listening. When someone is speaking to you, give them your full attention. Do not just wait for your turn to speak. You really listen to what they're saying and try to understand the emotions behind their words. Learn to recognize emotional triggers, both in yourself and in others. When you can identify what sets you off, you are better equipped to manage your reactions. When you can recognize others' triggers, you can navigate difficult conversations more successfully. Remember, high emotional intelligence does not mean being soft or letting others walk all over you. On the contrary, it means being able to assert yourself and set boundaries in a way that's firm but respectful. It means being able to deliver tough messages with empathy and tact. As you develop your emotional intelligence, you will find that your interactions become more meaningful and productive. You will be better equipped to offer kindness in a way that truly meets the other person's needs, rather than just scratching the surface. Boundaries are the unsung heroes of healthy relationships. They're the invisible lines that define where you end and others begin. They protect your physical and emotional well-being, your time, and your energy. And here's a truth that might surprise you. Setting clear boundaries is one of the kindest things you can do, both for yourself and for others. Why? Because boundaries create clarity. They help others understand how to interact with you in a way that's respectful and appropriate. They prevent misunderstandings and resentment. They allow you to give freely of yourself without burning out. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear it's unkind or selfish. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you set healthy boundaries, you are actually modeling self-respect and teaching others how to treat you. You are creating an environment where genuine kindness can flourish, unburdened by obligation or resentment. So how do you set clear boundaries while still being kind? Start by getting clear on your own needs and limits. What's okay with you and what's not? What do you need to feel respected and valued in your relationships? Once you're clear on your boundaries, communicate them clearly and calmly. Use I statements to express your needs without blaming or attacking. For example, instead of saying you are always interrupting me, you might say, I need to be able to finish my thoughts without interruption. Be consistent in enforcing your boundaries. If you let them slide sometime, you send mixed messages and invite others to push your limits. Remember, it's not unkind to say no to requests that violate your boundaries. In fact, it's necessary for maintaining healthy relationships. At the same time, be willing to listen to others and consider their needs. Boundaries aren't walls. They're more like fences with gates. They should be firm, but also flexible enough to allow for genuine connection and mutual understanding. Setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to it. But with practice, it becomes easier. And the payoff is immense: more authentic relationships, less stress and resentment, and the ability to be truly kind without compromising your own well-being. Honesty is the foundation of true kindness. It might seem counterintuitive. After all, is not it kinder to tell a white lie to spare someone's feelings? But in the long run, honest communication delivered with empathy and good intentions is far kinder than sugarcoating or avoiding difficult truths. If you had spinach stuck in your teeth, would you want your friends to tell you, or to let you go through the whole day unaware? Most of us would prefer the momentary discomfort of being told over the prolonged embarrassment of not knowing. The same principle applies to bigger issues in life. If a friend is repeatedly making choices that are harmful to themselves or others, the kindest thing you can do is to have an honest conversation with them about it. If a colleague's performance is slipping and putting their job at risk, speaking to them about it, while uncomfortable, is far kinder than staying silent and letting them fail. The key is in how you deliver the truth. Honesty without empathy is brutality, but honesty with empathy is kindness. Before having a difficult conversation, ask yourself, what is my intention? Is it truly to help the other person, or am I acting out of anger, frustration, or a desire to be right? When you do speak your truth, do it with compassion. Use I statements to express your concerns without attacking. For example, I am worried about you because I have noticed you have been drinking more lately, is likely to be received better than you are drinking too much, and it's a problem. Be specific in your observations and feedback. Vague criticisms are hard to act on and easy to dismiss. Offer concrete examples of the behavior you are concerned about. Listen as much as you speak. Give the other person a chance to share their perspective. They might have insights or information that you are not aware of. Remember, being honest does not mean being harsh. You can be kind in your delivery while still being clear and truthful. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to create a safe space for others to be honest with you. Cultivating a reputation for honesty and integrity might mean some short-term discomfort, but it leads to deeper, more meaningful relationships in the long run. People will trust you, respect you, and know that when you offer praise or criticism, you truly mean it. In our fast-paced, always connected world, truly listening has become something of a lost art. We are often so busy formulating our response that we fail to really hear what the other person is saying. But active listening is one of the greatest acts of kindness we can offer. When you listen, really listen, you are giving someone the gift of your full attention. You are saying, without words, you matter. Your thoughts and feelings are important to me. In a world where everyone is clamoring to be heard, being truly listened to is a rare and precious experience. Active listening goes beyond just staying quiet while the other person speaks. It involves fully engaging with what they're saying, both verbally and non-verbally. Make eye contact. Nod to show you are following along. Lean and slightly demonstrate interest. Practice reflective listening. Periodically summarize what you have heard to ensure you have understood correctly. This not only helps clarify any misunderstandings, but it also shows the speaker that you are genuinely engaged with their words. Ask open-ended questions that encourage the speaker to elaborate. How did that make you feel? What do you think led to that situation? These questions show that you are interested in diving deeper into their perspective. Resist the urge to interrupt or to jump in with your own similar experiences. While sharing relatable stories can be a way to build connection, make sure you're not shifting the focus away from the speaker before they've had a chance to fully express themselves. Pay attention not just to the words being said, but to the emotions behind them. Sometimes what's not being said is just as important as what is. Notice tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. These nonverbal cues can give you valuable insights into the speaker's true feelings. Suspend judgment. Even if you disagree with what's being said, try to listen with an open mind. Your goal is to understand, not necessarily to agree. Listen to understand, not to respond. Too often, we are mentally preparing our rebuttal while the other person is still speaking. Instead, focus on fully grasping their perspective before you consider your response. Remember, active listening does not mean you have to agree with everything being said. It does not mean you can't express your own thoughts or opinions. It simply means giving the other person your full, undivided attention while they're speaking. By practicing active listening, you are not only showing kindness to others, you are also enriching your own life. You will learn new perspectives, deepen your relationships, and develop a reputation as someone who truly cares about others' thoughts and feelings. In our quest to be kind to others, we often forget one crucial person, ourselves. Self-care is not selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't give kindness to others if you are depleted yourself. Think of it like the oxygen mask instructions on an airplane. You need to secure your own mask before helping others. By taking care of yourself, you ensure that you have the energy, patience, and emotional resources to be truly kind and present for others. Self-care looks different for everyone. For some, it might mean setting aside time each day for exercise or meditation. For others, it could be pursuing a hobby, spending time in nature, or simply getting enough sleep. The key is to identify what truly rejuvenates you and make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Part of self-care is also learning to say no. It's about recognizing your limits and respecting them. It's understanding that saying yes to everything means saying no to your own well-being. And ironically, by trying to be kind to everyone all the time, you end up being less effective in your kindness. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you extend to others. If you make a mistake or fall short of your goals, do not beat yourself up. Instead, speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend with encouragement and support. Set boundaries around your time and energy. It's okay to have periods where you are focused solely on your own needs. This is not selfishness. It's self-preservation. By taking time to recharge, you are ensuring that you can show up fully for others when it matters most. Remember, being kind, but not blind, applies to how we treat ourselves too. We need to be kind to ourselves, nurturing our physical and mental health. But we also need to be honest about our own shortcomings and areas for growth. This balanced approach allows us to continuously improve while maintaining our self-esteem and emotional well-being. In our quest to be kind, we often fall into the trap of people-pleasing. We say yes to every request, take on more than we can handle. and neglect our own needs in the process. But this is not true kindness. It's a recipe for burnout and resentment. True kindness comes from a place of strength and authenticity, not from a desire to be liked or to avoid conflict. When we are well-rested, emotionally balanced, and fulfilled in our own lives, we have so much more to give to others. Our kindness becomes genuine and sustainable rather than forced or depleting. We are able to listen more attentively, respond more thoughtfully, and make a more significant positive impact on those around us. Taking care of yourself also sets a powerful example for others. It shows them that it's okay, even necessary, to prioritize their own well-being. In this way, your self-care becomes an act of kindness not just to yourself, but to everyone who looks up to you or follows your lead. Self-care is not about indulgence or selfishness. It's not about ignoring our responsibilities or shirking our commitments. It's about finding a balance that allows us to show up as our best selves in all areas of our lives. It's about recognizing that we can't be truly kind to others if we are constantly running on empty. In the context of our theme, be kind but not blind. Self-care also involves being honest with ourselves about our own motivations and behaviors. Are we genuinely taking care of ourselves, or are we using self-care as an excuse to avoid difficult tasks or responsibilities? Are we setting healthy boundaries, or are we building walls that keep others out? These are the kinds of questions we need to ask ourselves regularly to ensure that we are staying true to our values and goals. One of the most powerful forms of self-care is continuous learning and personal growth. When we invest in our own development, whether through reading, taking courses, seeking out new experiences, or reflecting on our experiences, we expand our capacity for kindness and wisdom. We become better equipped to navigate complex situations, to understand diverse perspectives, and to offer meaningful support to others. This growth mindset ties directly into our theme of being kind but not blind. As we learn and grow, we become better at discerning when kindness is needed and when a firmer approach might be more beneficial. We develop the emotional intelligence to read situations more accurately and respond more appropriately. We become more aware of our own biases and blind spots, allowing us to be more genuinely kind and fair in our interactions with others. Another crucial aspect of self-care is cultivating a support network. Surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people who encourage your growth and respect your boundaries is essential. These relationships provide a safety net when times are tough, a sounding board when you need advice, and a source of joy and connection that fuels your ability to be kind to others. But remember, being kind but not blind applies to these relationships too. It's important to nurture friendships and connections that are mutually beneficial, where there is a healthy give and take. Be wary of one-sided relationships that drain your energy without reciprocation. True friends will understand and respect your need for self-care and boundaries. As you prioritize self-care, you will likely find that your capacity for kindness grows. You will have more patience, more empathy, and more emotional resources to draw from when others need your support. You will be better equipped to handle stress and challenges without losing your cool or lashing out at others. In essence, by taking care of yourself, you are investing in your ability to be kind to others. But let's not forget the not blind part of our theme. While practicing self-care, it's crucial to remain aware of the world around you and the needs of others. Self-care shouldn't become an excuse for selfishness or isolation. It's about finding the right balance, taking care of yourself so that you can better take care of others and contribute positively to your community. In this digital age, one form of self-care that's becoming increasingly important is digital detox. Constantly being connected, bombarded with information and notifications, can be incredibly draining. Taking regular breaks from technology, whether it's a few hours each day or a longer period each week, can help you recharge, refocus, and reconnect with yourself and the physical world around you. This digital detox ties into our theme of being kind but not blind in several ways. First, it's an act of kindness to yourself, allowing your mind to rest and reset. Second, it helps you avoid the trap of blind interactions online. Those knee-jerk reactions and heated exchanges that often occur when we are constantly connected. By stepping back, we give ourselves the space to respond more thoughtfully and kindly when we do engage online. Another important aspect of self-care is learning to celebrate your successes and forgive your failures. Too often, we are our own harshest critics. We brush off our achievements as insignificant and dwell on our mistakes. But being kind to yourself means acknowledging your progress, no matter how small, and treating your setbacks as learning opportunities rather than reasons for self-condemnation. This balanced self-view is crucial for being kind but not blind. When we have a healthy self-esteem, we are less likely to seek validation through people-pleasing or to let others take advantage of our kindness. We are more likely to stand firm in our values and to offer kindness from a place of genuine care rather than insecurity or fear of rejection. Remember, self-care is not a one-time event or occasional treat. It's a continuous practice, a way of life. It's about consistently making choices that honor your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of care and kindness not because of what you do for others, but simply because you exist. Be patient with yourself. Like any new habit, it takes time to develop and integrate into your life. There will be days when you fall short of your self-care goals, and that's okay. The key is to keep coming back to it, to keep prioritizing your well-being even when life gets hectic or challenging.